So after a long hiatus, never before seen Power Ranger Monsters is back.
We're back, baby! And we brought you a little something.
Now, if you're new here and you don't know what this series is about, it's a series where I talk about monsters that never were adapted in the Power Rangers and were Sentai exclusive monsters. Now, monsters in Super Sentai can be sometimes too scary, too Japanesey, or even too sexy for Power Rangers. So in this video, we talk about the monsters that never made the cutting room floor and were never adapted into Power Rangers. So if you want to go back and see what monsters never made it into your favorite seasons of Power Rangers, go back and check out the playlist because I've covered it from the very beginning, from Mighty Morphin, and even skipped to Dino Fury where some monsters weren't adapted into that season. So if you like that, check out those videos and don't forget to hit that subscribe button because I can see that a lot of you guys are watching the content but you're not subscribed. So hit that big red subscribe button and like the videos if you enjoy them. So in this video, we'll be talking about monsters that never appeared in Power Rangers Dino Charge / Dino Supercharge, Ninja Steel, and Super Ninja Steel. And to be honest, I thought there'd be a lot more monsters missing from these seasons that never got adapted, but actually the list is quite short and I was expecting it to be a lot longer, much like the previous video of Megaforce and Super Megaforce. But we're going to talk about these monsters that didn't make the cut into these seasons of Power Rangers, and they're quite the interesting discussion. So, without any further ado, let's talk about Power Ranger monsters that were never adapted from Super Sentai. Now, Dino Charge is quite the interesting case, as it looks like all the monsters were adapted into the show, except for one. This monster is called Debo Brave Sky, and it was used in a collab special to promote the mobile game Brave Frontier 2. But what's funny enough about the special is it came out in 2018, long after Dino Charge was airing, and long after its Super Sentai counterpart had ended. So this monster was adapted in 2018, years after both shows ended. So you could say that Dino Charge actually adapted most of its monsters into the show, but there are some special cases and we're going to get into them in this video. Now, do you remember the monster Screech in Power Rangers Dino Supercharge, the guy with the white cloak and the trumpet? Well, in the Super Sentai, that was actually his base form, and he had a true form that he used in the show. Now, this true form was never adapted in the Power Rangers at all, and looking at it, I can understand why. It's very silly, it's very goofy, but that monster was called New Joyful Night Kill Bo Rero, and I'm surprised that because they filmed a lot of original footage in Dino Charge with some of the monsters, they couldn't get the suits separately and do their own thing. So it's kind of a shame that that monster was never adapted, but we got Screech in the white cloak. And I gotta say, the base form does look weird and freaky, it does look intimidating as he hangs out with one of the many final bosses in Dino Charge, so I can understand why they chose that form over the other one. Now, in Power Rangers Dino Charge, we were graced with the beauty of Sledge, something that the Japanese never got.
Throw up your hands, having fun in Japan.
Well, they kind of did, but the Super Sentai never got Sledge. So, do you remember the monster Greenzilla? Well, that monster in Power Rangers Dino Supercharge was actually one of the many forms that its Sentai counterpart had. And one thing that a lot of people have been excited for me to bring up is that in its Super Sentai counterpart, that Greenzilla is actually the main antagonist of the Super Sentai, and it's one of his many forms. Now, what didn't get adapted in the Power Rangers Dino Charge or Supercharge was his final form. Now, this villain is called Deathboat, and it's actually the main antagonist of the Super Sentai. And to be honest, it's a really cool looking suit for his final form, and it's a shame that it never got adapted in the Power Rangers, because it's a really awesome form, and I would have taken, well, I love Sledge, but I would have loved to see this suit adapted into the series. So I do wonder if they did have a struggle of what suit they'd adapt for the final boss in Power Rangers Dino Charge. If they were going to use the Acheron suit, or they were going to use the Deathbow suit. I'd love to know. So now that we've done Dino Charge, we're moving on to Ninja Steel, and Ninja Steel was a season I was honestly expecting more monsters to not get adapted into its season of Power Rangers, but actually only 3 monsters didn't make the cut. First up is Puppet Ninja Kurorari. This monster was an anteater monster and had the power of possession. Now, I'm surprised that they skipped this monster because I'm sure they could have used the concept of his powers to fit the weird, silly vibes that Ninja Steel had going for it, but I'm guessing they probably didn't have enough morphed footage to work with it, so that's why the monster was probably skipped. Next up is Yokai Fudageshi. This monster was a scroll or a painting. I'm not sure, but you can probably guess why it was skipped. Now, the last monster on this list is interesting. Yokai Wanayudo. This monster appeared in episode 43 of Ninja and in a crossover between Tokuja that led into that special. Now, what's interesting about this episode that the monster appeared in is it featured a special guest appearance from Shurikenja, or Great Samurai Ranger from Ninja Storm. And if you've seen Hurricanea, then the Shurikenja is quite the mystery of a character. But seeing how this had involvement from past seasons with ninjas, and there was no intention of a crossover in Ninja Steel, I can understand why this monster was skipped, but it's a shame that Ninja Steel never lent into its past ninja seasons and did a crossover during its run. It's kind of a shame. We got Dimensions in Danger, but we never got a good ninja crossover in Ninja Steel or Super Ninja Steel, and that's kind of a shame. So that's all the monsters that never appeared in Dino Charge or Ninja Steel. What are your thoughts on the monsters that never made it into the show? And if I missed a couple that appeared on movies or specials, feel free to tell me in the comment section down below and I can tackle them in a future video if you want. With that said, in the next video, whenever that drops, we'll be talking about monsters that never made it in the Power Rangers Beast Morphers, and there's quite a few to go over in that video, and it's going to be an interesting talking point with those monsters that never were adapted. But with that said, I'm going to bring this video to a close. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out, take care, bye.
Thank you.